From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Ahmed Ramadan. CAIR, Alabama denounces Senator Tommy Tuberville's anti-Sharia bills as an attack on religious freedom. This and more on today's show. Stay tuned. More than 170 U.S. citizens were wrongly detained by immigration agents during the first 9 months of President Donald Trump's second term. A new ProPublica investigation has revealed that Americans, including children and pregnant women, were held for days despite confirming their citizenship. The findings come after a Supreme Court ruling allowed agents in Los Angeles to consider race during operations. Justice Brett Kavanaugh said citizens should not be concerned, but the report suggests otherwise. ProPublica says agents dragged, tackled, beaten, tased, and even shot several citizens, including a disabled veteran and a construction worker who showed valid ID. Nearly 20 detainees were children, 2 with cancer. The Department of Homeland Security has denied that it racially profiles, but Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino recently told a reporter agents may consider appearance. Civil rights groups warn that race-based enforcement is putting U.S. citizens at risk. The White House continues to defend agents' conduct. A federal judge has ordered immigration officers in the Chicago area to start wearing body cameras after recent clashes with protesters. Judge Sarah Ellis issued the ruling citing the use of tear gas and other aggressive tactics by federal agents during protests on Chicago's southeast side. Earlier, Ellis had temporarily restricted the use of non-lethal weapons after clergy, journalists, and demonstrators filed lawsuits accusing agents of excessive force. One widely circulated video showed a pastor being hit in the head by a pepper ball fired by an officer. Ellis says she was profoundly concerned about the agents' actions and has described the chemical attacks as unprovoked. The ruling comes amid President Donald Trump's Operation Midway Blitz, cracking down on illegal immigration in Chicago. The court now requires officers to wear visible identification and issue 2 warnings before using any chemical weapons against civilians. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has urged Americans to join nationwide No Kings rallies this Saturday. He called on citizens to peacefully defend democratic values and resist what he described as President Donald Trump's attempt to erode democracy. Schumer said on the Senate floor that in America, we do not have dictators, warning that Trump was turning the presidency into a form of dictatorship. Organizers expect millions to take part in the rallies across the country. Republicans have labeled the movement a Hate America rally. The Alabama chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR Alabama, has condemned Senator Tommy Tuberville's proposed anti-Sharia bills. The group called these proposed legislations an attack on religious freedom. The senator introduced 2 bills this week, the No Sharia Act and the Preserving a Sharia-Free America Act. The first seeks to block courts from applying foreign laws that conflict with the U.S. Constitution. The second would restrict immigration for those who support Sharia law. CAIR Alabama said the measures target American Muslims and misuse religion for political gain. The group's attorney, Britton O'Shields, said Sharia law simply guides Muslims in prayer, charity, fasting, and ethical living similar to Jewish halacha. CAIR has urged lawmakers to reject what it called fear-based political stunts and reaffirmed that American Muslims will continue to practice their faith freely and proudly. Most top American universities have rejected the Trump administration's proposed Compact for Academic Excellence. MIT became the first to say no. In a letter to the Education Department, MIT President Sally Kornbluth said the plan would restrict freedom of expression and limit open competition for excellence. She added that America's leadership in science depends on independent thinking and a free marketplace of ideas. Brown University, the University of Pennsylvania, and the University of Southern California also declined, calling the proposal an attack on autonomy and inclusion. The Trump administration had offered 9 major universities special access to federal funds in exchange for signing a 10-page Compact for Academic Excellence. The memo bans affirmative action, bars transgender students from using facilities matching their gender, and limits professors from commenting on political issues. 5 universities, Vanderbilt, Dartmouth, Texas at Austin, Arizona, and Virginia, have yet to announce their decisions. The compact would also cap foreign student enrollment. Experts say it represents a broader effort to impose ideological control over higher education. Hamas has called on mediators and the international community to pressure Israel to reopen the Rafah crossing with Egypt as required under the ceasefire deal. The United Nations says Israel is still blocking aid deliveries to hundreds of thousands in Gaza 1 week into the truce. A far-right Israeli group, Zaf 9, has been obstructing trucks carrying humanitarian supplies at the Karam Abu Salim crossing. France, Britain, and the United States are drafting a UN resolution that could set up an international force in Gaza. Hamas has reaffirmed its commitment to the ceasefire, saying it is working to return all remaining bodies of Israeli prisoners, though the process may take time. It said some bodies remain buried under rubble from Israeli bombings. The first phase of the truce, brokered by President Donald Trump, saw Hamas release 20 Israeli prisoners and 10 bodies in exchange for 1,968 Palestinian prisoners. The UN's World Food Program says it is delivering 560 tons of food daily, but warns that supplies remain far below Gaza's needs. Civil defense teams are struggling to remove rubble to recover bodies killed in the Israeli strikes. Israel's genocide in Gaza has killed at least 68,000 people and wounded 170,179 since October 2023. Congressman Seth Moulton returns AIPAC donations, rejecting ties with the pro-Israel lobby. Details coming up after the break.
My name is Layla. I was an average kid until Zula Inc. broke into my life because my dad discovered time travel. After that, everything changed.
You're the new girl Layla, right?
Whoa! What if I don't fit in?
Abdullah!
Do I hear my name? Welcome to Vancouver, cuz.
Whoa!
You 4 have been specially chosen to take our project into the next generation.
You can time travel?
Abdullah! No! Abdullah! Where?
Do you really think I don't know why we had to leave Seattle, Mama?
Now here, keep these close. These should never leave your wrist.
This virtual reality game is crazy. You can even eat. This is reality, buddy. We zoomed through a wormhole.
Oh no! My Go Watch! It's gone!
What does this do?
That's Al-Khwarizmi. You know, the father of mathematics. It's because of him we have algorithms.
I will not stop until your legacy, everyone's legacy, lies in ruins. Of course it was you. You little rascals ruined everything.
Your fate will be great. Just don't give up.
Time hoppers.
Welcome back. Congressman Seth Moulton has returned campaign donations from the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC. The move comes just days after he launched his Senate campaign in Massachusetts. Moulton says he will not accept any funding or support from AIPAC, noting that his campaign filings already show the return donations. He says he supports Israel's right to exist, but disagrees strongly with its current government. Moulton criticized AIPAC for aligning too closely with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying the group now serves to back Israel's current government's policies. He called himself a friend of Israel, but not of its leadership, adding that he cannot support the group's current direction. Moulton also expressed hope that the latest U.S.-brokered peace plan in Gaza could help bring lasting peace for both Israelis and Palestinians. Observers note that his decision marks a rare public rejection of AIPAC by a sitting U.S. lawmaker. President Donald Trump says the situation in Gaza has calmed and has urged Hamas to fully honor its commitments under the ceasefire deal with Israel. Speaking at the White House, he said more bodies of Israeli prisoners had been returned in recent days. He added the United States expects all sides to follow through on the agreement. Trump has hinted that forces close to the region could move into Gaza under U.S. auspices if Hamas fails to comply, but made clear that no American troops would be involved. He did not mention Israel, which has been repeatedly violating the agreement, continuing to kill Palestinians daily despite the ceasefire. A senior Hamas leader reaffirmed the group's commitment to the truce, saying it ensures an end to what it called the genocide, protection for civilians, and the start of Gaza's reconstruction. Under the first phase of the U.S. brokered deal, Hamas released 20 Israeli prisoners and the remains of 10 others in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. An Israeli court has extended the detention of Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya, the director of Kamal Adwan Hospital in northern Gaza, for another 6 months. The Palestinian human rights group Al Mizan said Abu Safiya was arrested by Israeli forces inside the hospital in December 2024. He appeared before Bir al-Sabi court via video conference, where the judge extended his detention under Israel's unlawful combatant law. Al-Mizan's lawyer argued there is no evidence or formal charge against him, calling the detention unlawful. The group condemned the decision, saying it violates international law and the protection of medical personnel. The center added that Abu Safiya has been denied the right to review evidence or defend himself. It said Israel is effectively holding him as a hostage in breach of human rights and humanitarian law. Abu Safiya has been in custody for nearly 10 months. The Türkiye-Africa Business and Economic Forum has concluded in Istanbul, drawing representatives from 50 of Africa's 54 countries. The two-day summit focused on expanding trade, investment, and cooperation across key sectors, including energy, food security, healthcare, and digital trade. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said his country's ties with Africa have reached a strategic partnership level after 2 decades of sustained engagement. He noted Turkey's trade with Africa has jumped from $5 billion in 2003 to nearly $40 billion in 2024. Turkish companies have completed more than 2,000 infrastructure projects worth about $97 billion and invested more than $15 billion across the continent. Turkey now has embassies in 44 African nations and plans to increase that to 50 soon. The forum was organized by the Turkish Trade Ministry and the African Union. Nearly 3,000 African and Turkish business people attended alongside ministers and advisors from 37 countries. Erdogan said the meeting strengthened new friendships and partnerships that will guide future cooperation. Pakistan and Afghanistan have agreed to extend their 48-hour ceasefire as delegations from both sides arrive in Doha, Qatar, for talks. Meanwhile, heavy destruction swept through Spin Boldak district in Afghanistan's Kandahar province as Pakistani airstrikes hit multiple areas before truce. Entire neighborhoods were flattened, with homes reduced to rubble. Afghan officials say at least 40 people, including women and children, were killed and 170 others injured in the air and artillery strikes. funeral ceremonies were held for the victims as rescue workers searched the debris. Pakistani security officials claim they foiled a cross-border infiltration in Mohman district of the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, killing between 45 and 50 militants trying to enter Pakistan. Islamabad accuses Kabul of sheltering militants from the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, a charge Afghanistan denies. Meanwhile, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said Pakistan no longer could bear the burden of hosting Afghan refugees indefinitely. He directed authorities to ensure their immediate repatriation and said Pakistan has paid a heavy price for decades of instability in Afghanistan. The prosecution in Bangladesh has sought the death penalty for ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her close aide, former Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal. Chief Prosecutor Tajul Islam made the request before the International Crimes Tribunal in the capital Dhaka. Both are accused of crimes against humanity linked to the government's response to a mass uprising in August 2024 that left about 1,400 people dead. The tribunal will also decide the fate of the third accused, former police chief Chaudhry Abdullah Al-Mamun. Hasina and Kamal are believed to be in India. She was ousted from power after the violent crackdown that ended her party's long rule last year. Hasina faces several cases, including charges of mass killings and forced disappearances. The tribunal has already filed at least 10 formal charges against her and 30 others. Proceedings against Hasina begin in June. Nearly 700 million people worldwide live in extreme poverty, surviving on less than $2.15 a day, according to the World Bank. The warning comes as the UN observed Friday as the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. The UN says the pandemic and global instability have reversed decades of progress. Almost half of the world's population earns less than $6.85 a day, while poverty remains most severe in South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. South Sudan ranks as the world's poorest nation, followed by Yemen, Burundi, and the Central African Republic. This year's UN theme focuses on ending social mistreatment and supporting families. The organization says eradicating poverty is key to achieving sustainable development by 2030. Despite progress in East Asia and South Asia, the World Bank projects 7.3% of the world will still live in extreme poverty by 2030. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.